I've now finished one, the lat housing here, and then the through housing, that's number 2, this one's finished. Now I'm going to operate on proceed with the shouldered housing, which is this one that I'm doing here now. So I'm going to actually knife here, the shoulder line, then cut it and then chisel it this way, and then just ease that into that actual housing section, like so. Okay? I'm just going to re-knife that shoulder like I normally do, like, just so the saw sits in here. Oh.
back on H.
So, I'm I'm about to try in my shouldered housing. I'm just getting a bit of a once over now. Yeah, just so. Yeah, I'm just giving it a once over. Yeah, just taking that. So let's make sure I get it the right way around. So I'm just going to stick that in there. Like a little bit of persuasion. When I say persuasion, I mean okay, so it's not too bad. What I can see here, if you look closely, I've got a little bit of a gap here. I can show you there, look. So what that means is that I need to just take the housing a bit more deeper here. That's why it's stopping it, that shoulder, from sitting closer. So it's closer here. Yeah. And here, you can see there, you can go down a little bit more here. Yeah. Probably there's okay. It's just at the front there, looks like. Need to just take it some more. So that's what I want to do. So now I've chiseled the bottom of my housing, just that little bit, just so that when this joint comes together nice and tight. So I'm just going to get it right way around. So I'm just going to ease that in there. Oop. Here we are. One. And it's all nice and tight, no gaps anywhere. That's it, lovely. Good. That's it, so that's job number 3. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put in stop housing, which is number 4, mark number 4. And now it fits in nice and snugly. And what I've got to do now is cut this section at the front so it sits in. Now, I can see here, there's a slight little, it's higher. When I say see, where I've got the pencil line, it's higher, it's inside, it's high, so it's not 100% flat inside, or there's a high spot at the front. So that's why this is not sitting down, because this wants to be a bit closer. Yeah, it's a little bit more, a little fraction, about a mil into it. You can just about see it there. Look, I'll bring my pencil. Oh, not my pencil, yeah, pencil. Here we are, 2 red pens. Just that there, you can see that there where that's showing that it needs to go down a little bit more. So I'm going to just ease the bottom of this. So this is that little bit. It's just a fraction there, not very much, very fractional. And then we're just going to take that up. And then, okay, see, so you see like it's gone nice and tight. So when I cut that, that can sit nice and beautiful when it sits into there. So that's the next thing. I'm going to cut this bit. Let's cut this bit away. Cut that and then chop this out, and that's fitted in there. So I've cut that now. Yes, this little cutout, and now that's going to fit over or fit into that housing. So let me just show you. I'm just going to push that in. There we are. That's that one. Okay, job number 4. I'm going to do number 5. It's a stopped bare face trench housing. So this is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to produce that on here, and that's going to fit into there. So that's what I'm going to do. So first of all, I'm just going to knife around just like I normally do, ready for my cutting, and then make it happen. Okay, let me just carry on. I'm just going to make sure there's no resistance when I'm fitting this stop trench housing. So just putting it in. Like that. Right, I see a little bit of a gap here. I see a little bit of a gap there, so I just need to, it looks like, again, the bottom of the trench housing needs to be just dropped down a bit so that that is touching. And that's it really with this one. It's that little bit more, it's just that little bit off. So I'm just gonna ease the bottom of that housing. Yeah, it's still not quite right. So I'm just thinking. Okay, so we just chiseled a little bit more, and now let me see how that works. Right, that's it. Nice and tight, like I want it. There we are. That's what you want. Nice and tight joints. Like that. There we are. That's it. That's how that works.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the final one. Number 6 is going to be, which is a through trench, bare-faced trench housing. So again, I'm going to knife round here, chisel detail, saw it, and then just chisel along there and ease that tongue into there. That's the final one. Okay, so I'm now at the last part of the exercise where I'm just finishing off cutting. I just finished off cutting. Now I'm about to fit the bare-faced trench housing into where it's supposed to go, which is here. So here we are. It fits nice and snugly, nice and tight. No issues with the shoulders. Time that's screwed up, that'd be a good, nice little job done. So,
You won, Mr. Jones. Go.
okay, so I'm now at the last part of the exercise where I'm just finishing off cutting. I just finished off cutting. Now I'm about to fit the bare-faced trench housing into where it's supposed to go, which is here. So here we are. fits nice and snugly, nice and tight. No issues with the shoulders. Time that's screwed up, that'll be a good, nice little job done. So starting from the beginning, we've done the latch housing at number 2. Number 1. Number 2, we've done the through housing, which is this one. So we'll just put that in there. And then number 3 would be the shouldered, the 2 double of the shouldered housing that goes into there. And then number 4 is the stopped housing. Okay, and then number 5 is the stopped trench housing, which is here. Like that, and of course, I've already put this already, but I'll show you again, is the through, bare face through housing joint, which is at number 6. Right, everything is, all the various housings are complete now. So what will be left here really is to screw it together. So screw each and every joint together, and then that'll be the job done. Now, what I think I'm going to do here is possibly might clean up the sides and here just to make it a bit more appealing. Get rid of these pen marks, bit of the face edge mark that I've got in there. Okay, so just give it a nice little clean up prior to assembling each and every job together, or joint in this case. So, I've just finished cleaning up, just giving a surface clean with my smoothing plane, and I'm going to assemble assemble it up, screw it together, and then that'll be that job finished really. So that's how that's going to work, finish off. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm going to do in relation to this. I'm going to screw up each and every one of these components, but I'll do one for now and then the rest you can. So that's 1, 6, 3, 4, 2. Okay, so starting with the where's my pencil? Yeah.
When you glue it, do you screw it and glue it normally, just out of interest?
Yeah. When
Okay.
you glue it, you screw it and glue it. Yeah.
Okay,
that's
just
what
glue
you
it.
do. Yeah. Because there's no use if you was making this as a. It could be one of them. Could be any a joint for a door lining. You can't really rely on the screws. The screw will hold it together, but the glue is also an added surface for it to key to the actual wood. So the screws is really like a cram, but it's pulling it all together.
Okay.
So a bit about screws then. So I'm using what you'll see here. You see here a imperial size, which is a number 8, and the length for it is what is 1.5 inches. So this equates to 40 mil long, and the 4 is half of what 8 is. So if I've got an 8 millimeter head, it numbered down as half the head size. So this is a number 8 screw that I'm going to be using, and it's 40 mil long. So these are the metric size, and that's the imperial equivalent to what the metric size that you'll buy screws at these days. So now I'm going to put like a little center line. I'm trying not to mark this too much because I've already actually planed it, so I don't want to be messing it up too much. So here, this is where my end, or where my lat dovetail end is sitting here. And I'm going to put a screw, probably 2 screws actually would be sufficing in all of them actually, but I'm just going to do one, right? When I say one, meaning one element, and then you'll get the picture. So this one is going to be a screw in the middle, that double shouldered. What we got here, stop housing, so that's going to be in the middle there. So obviously it doesn't, so I'm just going to come in a set size. The shouldered, or not the shouldered, the bare face housing one will have, I'm just going to take the width of that. So this is the parameter I'm working. So we don't want to put a screw in the middle of the tongue because that is not going to be conducive. You want it on the side of that trench housing. That's where you want your drilling to suppose. So when I actually drill it, the hole is going to be here, biting into this part, not into the tongue, into this section. So that's that one. And then the same with this one, which is the very last one at the end there. So this one here, oh, here we are. So this hole is going to be here. So what I've done, I've lined the centers, or supposed line where I'm going to do my drilling. Now, all I'm going to do is just come in with a size, an approximate size to come in. So if we said probably about 25 mil in. Yeah, so I'm going to come in 25, between 20 and 25 mil in from each edge. So if I turn this round, so I'm going to mark a line, so I'm going to make it 22 in this case, 22. So the difference between 20 and 25, 22, all right, mil in. So why 22? Why 22? Good question, I've asked myself. So I'm missing that, so I don't want the screw to here, I want the screw somewhere in this area, and the same when it comes to there. So 22 is just the, I've governed that by where our stop housings were in general. So just giving it a rounded figure, 22 mil, 22, that and there, 22 there, 22 there, and 22 there. Where else have I not done? 22 there, 22 there. All right, and I've got one here, 22, 22. Another way that I could have, I should have done is using my combination square. So the combination square is this. I'll just go and get it. This is a combination square. So if I set my combination square to 22, so I can just go along here like that, basically. I was doing it the long way with the ruler, but I can actually also do it this way. Yeah, using my combination square, which I should have done in a way, but hey ho. Here we are, 22. Right, so now which way I'm going to drill? Well, good question I asked myself. So, two things. I can either I can't go in this way because I'm marking it. Probably it was easier coming this way because I couldn't drill right the way through. Now, when I'm drilling right the way through with this, I'm going to use my bench hook here. In relation to drill bits, so this is a HSS bit that can drill into timber or even to metal. Now, size. So if I've got an 8mm head screw. When I say 8mm, meaning 8mm in diameter. So the rule of thumb is if it's 8mm, right, like this, is 8mm in diameter, right? So that means my clearance hole needs to be half the head size. So if that's 8mm, my clearance drill bit wants to be 4mm. So the clearance hole is what passes, the actual screw passes through. You don't want it tight. So when I say tight, you don't want this to be less than 4mm because you'll be screwing into the timber and there's no need for that. All the screw is doing is it's biting onto that bit. So the clearance hole wants to be through this bit. Yeah? So, rule of thumb. So 8mm, clearance hole needs to be 4, and then obviously I'm going to follow it with the countersink bit, which enables me to screw the screw to sit nice and tight to the wood. Now, if I needed to do a pilot hole, it will be 4mm plus half of 4mm again, which is 2mm. So a pilot hole. So a pilot hole we use a lot when we're trying to be a bit more precise, a bit like a bradawl, but a bit more precise. So see if you're screwing a bit of hardwood, yeah, which onto a bit of softwood, for example. I might need to do pilot holes because sometimes the hardwood can be quite a thing in relation to the way it's built up. So we will then use a pilot drill, which is half of the clearance hole. So if this is 4, the pilot hole wants to be 2mm. And that's how it works in relation to drill sizes, drill bits. So depending on what head you have, so if I had a 10mm head, 10mm diameter I mean, the clearance hole wants to be 5. If I need a pilot hole, that pilot hole needs to be 2.5. Simple as that. Right, something. Right, so now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a series of holes here. Look. So I'm going to drill this one. Now, speed. That's another thing. So, speed of a drill, a cordless drill. So number 2 is the fastest speed. This is what you want in drilling. Number 1, so number 2 is the fast speed. And number 1 is when you're actually screwing it, putting the screwdriver or the posi bit into here, and then you're screwing the actual thing together. I'll show you when I've finished, okay? So before we get off, so this is the clearance hole I'm talking about. So the screw passes through the actual piece of timber. So you're not fighting this. The only thing the screw is gonna bite is into that when you're bringing it together, okay? So I'm just gonna drill these all up, and then on my bench hook. So putting it at number 1, oh sorry, number 2, shall I say? So number 2, make sure it's nice and tight. Have a bit of blow down. Yeah, so now I'm just going to countersink. Now when I'm countersinking, I don't really need it on number 2. So I'm going to press it on number 1. Now, when you're countersinking, you don't want to countersink too much. Now, the thing I use, or a guide in countersinking, I would offer the head up to the hole and just see whether that covers the actual countersink, which is invariably this bit. This is the angle, or the how this is made. This is generally going to be about 45 degrees. This angle on here on this countersink. So I'll just press on it, get a little bit more. Remind you, it is softwood, so it's a little bit forgiving. So if you turn the head like this, you can gauge how much to countersink, so you don't over countersink, because you can over countersink something. It's unnecessary. You just enough to cool. So you don't want to, the screws don't want to be below the surface. They're slightly below, but not too much below. Yeah. Sometimes I do a little bit of that, just so that there's nothing going to hinder it when I put this together. Yeah, especially because when I've come the other way, you get a little bit of breakout, and sometimes that can interfere with the actual job coming together. Yeah, so just take that out of there. Okay, so I've drilled the holes, countersunk them. Now I'm going to change this bit, this countersink, from my posi drive bit. Again, still at number 1. So it's a case of really assembling each one. Okay, so starting with probably number 1. So number 1 is sitting like this. So to keep that steadied, I've put it in the vice like so. I might use that as a little stop, or a little thing. Do I need to do that? Probably not. If I reverse that low into the vise, like a little bit of a blow. I'll raise that up a bit. Oh. Okay, so this is a good example where I might use a pilot drill because I've got this end grain. Now, do I rely on the screw? Sometimes you want to be so like precise when you're putting in screws. So a pilot hole wouldn't go amiss here, especially at the end grain. You don't have to have it in the middle because they're located. But because it's on the end, I'm going to get myself a little pilot drill. Yeah, so half of 4mm, which is a 2mm pilot. So I'm just going to go into now. I've got my 2mm pilot hole. I'm just going to give this a little pilot hole so that my screw's got something to work to. Yeah, and when I actually screw this up. So I've got it on number 1. Didn't have it on number 2. I don't need it to be fast. It's just a little to give the screw a little start of pilot hole. Especially at the end. I don't need it at the others, just the end one. Oh, just the end one. So now I've set that in motion. Set number 1. What I'm going to do now, screw that up. Right, so that stops there, nice and level. Now, these have what we call torque settings. On the top of here, you see these torque numbers. Hopefully this is going to work. Right, so I'm going to check out these torque settings. What that means is when I'm screwing the torque setting relates to that. In fact, the screw point is there. We've got hammer, screw head, drilling. I had it on drilling actually. So the torque settings is those. So I should be able to screw this in and it go in no further than the torque setting. Now that means either the torque setting is a bit too high. So let me try this again at number 9. You hear that?
Yeah.
Let me try that again. So it won't turn anymore. So the lower the setting, the lower the number, gives you the torque setting. So you adjust it to whatever screw that length of screw that you have. And when you screw it in, it shouldn't turn no further than that. So let me do this one again so you can see. So let me try that again. Nice and easy. Didn't work that much there, did it? I'll try that again. So it clicks. So it won't go no further than that. So to make it all, I could put this one at the end. Oh no, that's not the one at the end. This is number 6. Just to so like it's not what's the word? It's got a balance. So I'm on here. So let's try that again. So now I'm not going to use the pilot hole because I don't really need it, but I've got the torque setting, so just nice and slow. Here we are. Now that could go in a bit lower. If you see that, look, this can go in a bit lower. Or it needs to countersink that little bit more because you don't want screws sticking up like that. So if I take that up, I'm just going to countersink them. I'm going to take that bit out. I'm just going to I'm just going over it again. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move it to 9 actually. Right, so one completed activity ranging from number 1, 2, 3, 4. So lat, through, shouldered housing, stopped housing, stopped bare face trench housing, and a bare face trench housing joint. Bit of a mouthful that one, but
Yeah. Just say that.
Now you have a go.
That's the one.